And man, you got to be careful complaining to the Lord because let me tell you, He always has a higher view. I was in a business relationship not too long ago, and my business partner, in a lot of ways, got to ride on my reputation. And simultaneously, there were a lot of opportunities that became challenging because his reputation was not as good as mine. And there were people that wanted to work with us. And on numerous occasions, there were conversations that basically they said, look, like, we like you, we want to work with you. We're not super interested in working with your business partner. But during the course of time that I was with this partner, which there was a bit more complexity to it. It wasn't just like simply, oh, I just partnered with this random guy who has a bad reputation. It was more complex than that. But the the thing that kept happening was I just felt like, for whatever reason, the Lord continued to push me to continue in the relationship and not to sever, not to throw him under the bus, but to just continue to be like, hey, look, like, he's not what you think, whatever, you know what I mean? Which in part was true. Like, there were a lot of good qualities in my partner, a lot of good qualities. I wouldn't have partnered with him otherwise. There were just some areas that were not the best, and there were many times where I had to explain away behaviors and ways of doing things, sometimes, oftentimes, to the detriment of my own reputation. And I was super frustrated about this, and I was talking to the Lord about it. We've since separated, and the company went out of business, and a lot of other stuff. But I was just talking to the Lord about this because there's kind of some fallout that I'm dealing with right now as a result of the partnership and just kind of how everything went down. And and I was telling the Lord, I was like, Lord, I'm so angry about this. I'm angry that He got to ride on my reputation. And now, when it's all said and done, in a lot of ways, I'm kind of left holding the bag here. And man, you got to be careful complaining to the Lord because let me tell you, He always has a higher view. So as I was sitting there voicing my anger and my frustration very gently and kindly, as He always has been to me, He said, Dev, what do you think I do for you? And man, that landed like a ton of bricks, realizing that how many things are done in Jesus' name that He would never have condoned in a million years. How much patience does He have with us who not only claim to be His children, but are claimed by the Father? Like, before the angels, the Father claims us as His kids. Jesus claims us as His people, while we're out here just messing up left and right. And I mean, I can't even imagine some of the conversations that Jesus has to have with the angels who are looking down on what we're doing. And He's like, look at what your kids are doing. And Jesus is over here saying, hey, listen, just give it time. Trust me on this one. They're going to be awesome. And the angels have to be up there. Like, we've been watching this whole charade for like a few thousand years now. I mean, they crucified you, Jesus. Like, they crucified you. You realize that, right? And He's up there just like, yeah, I know. That was pretty bad. But give it time. Trust me. It's going to work out. They're going to be great. Like, the amount of reputational damage that both God and Jesus, who I say God and Jesus, they're the same in the sense that they are one, but they're different in expression. And so I speak about them in expression. Man, the amount of reputational damage that they have taken by allowing us to ride on their reputation, to just exist in creation on the back of their reputation, is That's a love that is difficult to process. I have a mild inclination of it because that is in a large part why I tolerated a lot of what I tolerated with my business partner, because I loved him. And so I was willing, I was even happy to let him ride on my reputation because I honestly thought that in time things would change and that he would use that. He would use the room that bought him and the rooms that allowed him access to, um, to to do more. And when he didn't, it hurt a lot. But at the end of the day, man, like my love in that situation and the amount of reputational damage that I took through that situation comparative to how much reputational damage he's taken to carry our name, to open doors for us. I mean, it's laughable. I have nothing to complain about. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because as I really took time to digest what the Lord was saying to me. I just realized just another level of just the width and the breadth and the size and scope of his love for us. It is beyond all understanding that he would take on humanity on the back of his reputation before all of creation, before all of his angels, all of his hosts, those that have been with him, potentially since the time that we were made, or even before. And to say that he would he takes on our existence, like process that for he takes our existence on his reputation because he made us, which means he, just like parents, we take responsibility for our kids when they're children, like until the time that they grow up and they become adults, they're children. And so all of their actions are in a way a reflection of us. And as parents, we take that on, and as our father, man, God takes that on. And that's astounding because he's perfect. As parents, we're not perfect. So, it's like if my kids go do something, it's like you can make the argument. You say, well, yeah, but look, I mean, you're human. I'm human. They're human. We're all human here. So, people make mistakes, but God doesn't make mistakes. He is perfect. And yet he was willing to take us on his reputation while we work our mess out because he's that confident that he can bring us to the goal. He's that confident in the capacity that he built into us with his power to become something that is worthy of being called his sons. Man, it's wild. His love is it's hard to wrap your mind around sometimes. Shh.